Thank you, guys. That was a heck of an intro. I'd like to have each of you introduce yourself, who you are, what role you play in the show, and maybe a few Harlequin plays that you've done in the past. So who would like to kick it off?
My name's John Lutyens. I am playing, well, this is more complex if you didn't introduce yourself first. So let's go with you first.
All right. When you said I'm here with the leads of the show, you're also here with the ensemble, but we'll get to him. Katherine Strohmaier. I have done at Harlequin, I've done the last 5 years with Aaron Lamb, the artistic director, and I music directed Man of La Mancha a few years ago. And in Murder for Two, I'm playing Marcus Moskowitz, a hopeful detective trying to solve this case.
And I'm still John Lutyens, and I have not done a show at Harlequin yet, although I was supposed to be directing Into the Woods, which got canceled in 2020. Hoping to come back to that project eventually somewhere. But this will be my first Harlequin project, which is quite exciting. And I am playing in this murder mystery everyone else except for the detective.
I'm Corey McDaniel. I am the director for Murder for Two, and I have also worked on, a few years back, I did, as an actor, I was in the one-man show I Am My Own Wife at Harlequin. Then I directed the next year I Ought to Be in Pictures. And then right before the pandemic, I directed Noises Off. More recently, this fall, I directed Tenderly, the Rosemary Clooney musical. And now we're working on Murder for Two.
What are some of the exciting things that you all have experienced in this show, and also just kind of like being in Harlequin shows? So maybe the first question, and then we can dive into some of the exciting parts of past Harlequin shows. But let's start. Anyone?
I'm just excited to be back in the theater, and excited and scared. And working, especially for me, with a show like this where there's a lot riding on it, with both of us playing the piano. I think we should keep stressing that, because sometimes people say, oh, they faked it so well. But no, we are actually playing the piano live. It's really important to have a lot of trust always with your colleagues and your scene partners, but especially in a show like this, it's fast paced. We're really counting on each other to show up and pull our weight. And John and I have been friends for several years, including housemates for, I think, about 1 million years in the past. And so it's nice to have that familiarity with each other already, because we kind of have a shorthand with the way we communicate with each other, as I think you noticed earlier.
There's so many things that excite me about this production. It's first off, it's wildfire, fast, fury, funny, and entertaining. It's pure entertainment. And we really get to see a level of skill from our two actors that is so rare. Not only are they both playing multiple characters, very diverse and different characters beautifully, but they're also the singers of all the music, and they are their own piano players, oftentimes piano playing together with levels of piano skill that, again, I have never seen in a rehearsal room before. So I would say, first and foremost, like, the piano work and the musical work is incredibly exciting, because we just don't get an opportunity to see work like this, right? Raw talent mixed with intense lifelong skill and technique, and then topped with a multitude of characters that come and go faster than you can almost keep track.
It's exciting to be back in a rehearsal process after what was 18, 20 months away. And, you know, there's a little bit of trepidation of getting back on our feet. But fortunately, we remember how to do it. It's a little like riding a bicycle, but also, if you hadn't ridden a bicycle in 2 years, you'd get on a bicycle and think, what am I doing? This is insane. And I think with this show, it's particularly insane because not only, you know, if this were just a regular play, we would just be focused on acting. If this were just a regular musical, it'd be like, great, acting and singing. And this isn't a regular musical. It's a musical where we're acting and singing and playing the piano. And as Katherine says, if you think it's faked, just listen for all the wrong notes that we're hitting. There will be some, despite how much we practice.
The courtesy we give, so you know it's not canned music.
Yeah. It's really for you.
I'd like to dive a little bit deeper and kind of understand, as this, you all have tackled this show as a duo, and multiple characters. What can you share with us that are some of the challenges that you've sort of had to overcome within this program to really make it pop, make it shine?
There was a level of having to step back and allow the actors to bring in what they wanted to bring in. I couldn't come into this process with preconceived notions of what each and every character was going to look like, or each and every song or bit of choreography might look like. And that inability to prepare is very uncomfortable for a director like myself. Because what they bring to the room, their ideas, are what make it authentic, honest, and skillfully executed. So that was one of the first things I had to do, was just really step back and say, okay, I don't have an answer for this today. I'm going to have to wait until I'm in the room with the actors for a week and the three of us explore this and find what the possible options are, and then narrow those options down as a team, as opposed to me coming in with a set list of how things need to look or play out.
Well, let's maybe start by, how many characters do you voice or play in the show?
That's sort of why I looked at you. I thought, I have
Because the
challenges,
reality is I play 8 or 9 or however many people, but you play 3.
Well,
in some form.
Yeah.
Well,
I mostly play one, but in one kind of flashback narrative, I embody 2 others briefly, but that's not as difficult. But I am playing the piano while I do that, so that's a challenge. Some of this kind of dialoguing while I think we're both skilled, experienced enough in accompanying ourselves as singers on the piano, but there's something about kind of keeping that dialogue going and not just talking kind of robotically while you're
I'm terrible at talking and playing at the same time. It's like chewing gum and whatever you can't do when you chew gum. Thinking.
But I don't have the what I view as probably the big challenge you have.
Sure. Well, and when I approach multiple character shows, my brain goes to how am I changing my physical nature? How am I changing my voice, etc., to build this character? But when you're forced to be sitting and your hands are forced to be doing a specific thing, some of those tools are taken away. So that's a challenge, right? Because this is dictated. So then you have to find, you can't sort of telegraph the characters the same way as you might if you were just an actor in space.
Obviously, the show is postponed. What are y'all how are you staying mentally prepared? How are you staying, making sure this is good for the show? What have you been up to?
There's certainly a luxury of having a weird, unexpected break in the middle of rehearsal with a show like this that's asking you to memorize so much, because we are both playing piano, although the thing that makes people think maybe we won't is that there's not going to be sheet music on the piano. So everything has to be in our hands, in our brains, in our bodies. So it's a luxury to have the additional time. And then Christmas happened and New Year's happened, and the holidays obviously take a lot of energy. So I think after New Year's, there was definitely I have to pick that back up. Kind of moment.
And we had, before Christmas, we had 2 weeks of rehearsal, which was more or less about half of our rehearsal period. And so we've gotten everything staged. And so for me, too, there's this little bit of, not just making sure the material's all still in there, but also, do I still have the staging in my body? Am I still going to be having a conversation, or am I just going to be blabbing my lines?
It's not a fun situation. It's a very tricky situation to be in the middle of rehearsals and then have them paused. So I'm looking very forward to just being back in the room with people. I think I'm approaching a month where I've only had human contact with 3 people. And prior to that, it were the actors and our stage managers. So very, very excited to get back in the room. Just with the creatives and the human beings. Incredibly excited to be on the set. We were not on the stage during our rehearsal process, and the set is fully erected and painted, and dressings are starting to arrive, and I'm getting daily pictures. That's going to be so exciting. And I'm most excited about remembering what we've done. We had that intense, really hardcore 2-week process. And now we've been off for a month already. We're not back for a few more weeks. So getting in the space and being able to walk through everything that's occurred and remember where we were and build upon that is the next big exciting step for us.
It's going to be 90 minutes of high energy, nonstop distraction from the world that we're in. Unless you are a famous novelist whose wife might hate you.
Yeah, this plays for everybody. There's not a particular age group or demographic or political background. It is pure humor. It's theater at its best when it's there to just entertain us and bring us laughter and joy and fun. So I think that this is appropriate for all audiences.
I would say the same thing. It's so nice to get back to the theater and just kind of be whisked away for a minute and whisked away. It's nice that we can see things that, you know, engage our brains and challenge our thinking and everything. And it's also, on balance, really nice to just disappear, you know, to some kind of goofy place for a while. And it's nice for us to do that together and provide it. Oh, I think that's my time.
Murder for Two opens at Harlequin Productions on Friday, March 11th, and runs until Saturday, April 2nd.